Welcome back, my friends. I'm JohnnyB with JohnnyB.com. You're watching the educational series, How to Buy a Home in Silicon Valley. Do you know how to form an opinion of value so you know what to offer when the time comes? So a lot of people wonder, how much should I offer for the home that I want to buy? How do I figure out what the fair price is? So this is the way we approach it. It's like you're taking a trip across town. Initially, you can only see as far as the headlights show you. As you move to the next location, you can see further, and this continues in 4 segments through this process. So the first segment, all we have is the history of the market. What have homes sold for that are of similar value, similar location, similar size? The reason we want to have recent sales, if possible, is because the market moves up and down. You saw the charts early on from Zillow that shows the path of the market. Obviously, if something sold 2 years ago, it needs a huge adjustment to be relevant to today. If it's a different size, that could be a problem. It's counterintuitive, but the larger the home is, the lower the dollars per square foot. And what about the lot? The lot has value. So in the first leg, you start with the mathematical value. This is where you look at the properties that have sold recently in the same geographic area, as close as possible to your home, and of a similar size. So these variables all can skew things. So first of all, where was the market when this home sold? The comparable. Was it 6 months ago? Was the market up or down? You need to make an adjustment, and the mathematical value does in the spreadsheet. I also added an adjustment for lot. So instead of taking 100% of the delta of the square footage and taking the average dollar per square foot and figuring out a difference and applying it to the value, we take about 50% of that so that we can account for the lot. Then we make adjustments for the bedroom count, the bathroom count. It depends on the size and the value of the home and the location. These adjustments are approximate, but they get us in the ballpark. And then if there's remodeling or something spectacular that we need to say it's going to push the price up or down, we make those adjustments. It's funny, after doing all this work, all you have is a historical perspective that's guaranteed to be wrong. It's just a question of how wrong is it. When you look at a property, a specific property, you take any other group around there that recently sold, they're not going to be a true average of this property. It's not going to have the same feng shui, the same wastu. It's not going to have one of them will have a cemetery across the street, the other will have a park across the street. One might back up to a freeway or a 4-lane highway. There might be 30,000 volts of power running over the backyard. All of these things are going to change the value from property to property. But you get some framework to begin with. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is when we start doing the pre-negotiations. It's really important to tell me as early as possible so that we can use the full protocol of my negotiations to bring the full benefit of the unfair advantage to you. And part of that is getting information about what's going on with the property in terms of the number of offers, how long it's been on the market, how many disclosure packets are out, how many people have made appointments to present, how many people have confirmed or have committed that they're going to bring an offer. How many are just thinking about it? So when we get all this information, we can get another approximation of where things are going to go. These values are independently derived. Also, sometimes it's not that simple. I remember a physicist who was buying a property, and it was near Google, and the properties that he was looking to buy had not sold for a very long time. None of the properties in that community. All the comparables came from adjacent communities, which seemed to me to be far inferior in value. When I actually did the math both ways, I found out that it was about a $170,000 difference in value. So we were able to use that information to negotiate a lower price than it really should have been, because we understood the value, but we understood how agents are going to do the calculations, and we were able to walk in and take advantage of that. The third number is your initial offer. Now, this is not an opinion of value, but it's the first offer that we bring in. And the reason we bring in a lower first offer is because we're going to do a live presentation and I'm going to have addenda with me. So we're going to find out everything possible. Please don't tell any other agents this. We're going to find out everything possible all throughout our negotiation process, from the preheat through the communication, right up to the actual live presentation. And there's more advantages that I will get you throughout that, which I'll share with you face to face. In the live presentation, we'll come out with another number. And that's likely to be the final number that you'll get to purchase the property for. And that's going to be a function of the competition and the negotiating environment. And then you'll find out exactly, most of the time, I can't say all the time, it's real world, it's messy, and we have to adapt and overcome. I've laid out the process for you in ideal fashion, but there's many other nuances to the process that brings us the full advantages. So then when we find out what we learn face to face by reading body language, listening to what's said, what's not said, and what the slang is, and what the hints are, we then derive a number. And that's the number that I recommend that you come in with. I would say it's around 95% of my clients do take my advice. They watched it, it makes sense to them, they've seen everything transparently all the way through, and now they're in a process where they feel comfortable pushing the gas forward because the windshield has been clean all the way through. You've got the education, you've got the transparency, you've got the minute-by-minute coaching, and then you're able to get what you want at the lowest possible price. And because you were there, you know that's true. So that's bits and pieces of the negotiating process. I can't wait to see you and go over it in face-to-face over coffee and fill out the rest. Next time, do you know how to leverage the advantages in the appraisal process while staying within the confines of the law? Till next time, I'm Johnny B. We're here in Redondo Beach, and we just finished, actually we're still finishing the filming of Jay Abraham's life story. Jay Abraham is like a brilliant visionary who can see the future and also look at you in the context of thousands of other industries and businesses where the genius of those industries can be repurposed and targeted and refined. I've been exposed to hundreds of thousands of dollars of Jay's brilliant work over the course of his career. 35 years ago, I got a CD set from Nightingale Conant, and I convinced my wife to go with me on a vacation and spend the entire vacation going through this course material. It had so much impact on me that I thought over the years, I came up with what I thought were brilliant ideas. And then I was able to afford Jay's material, and I looked at it, and all my brilliant ideas came from that original exposure. In the process of doing this film, I think anybody that's in business is going to benefit because there's so many facets of missed opportunities, there's caches of value that's untapped, there's resources available to all of us. Standing next to you is probably the biggest opportunity in the world, and 10 years later you'll see it, but with somebody like Jay who can see thousands of business and look at yours and reveal that opportunity to you, you're able then to bring forth a greater expectation of success. Sometimes people are great at creating something that's really impactful, but they don't know how to get the attention from the marketplace. They don't know how to joint venture. They don't know how to bring out the profitability of the product. And so it dies. And so all of us lose from this. When you get to sit down with somebody that you've looked up to for decades, you get their message at a deeper level. And at the same time, you get to share it with the people that you love. You know, my clients, my friends, coworkers, and I can bring this back and help others. In business, what we're doing is we're creating value, which is much higher than the perceived value of the money that you're exchanging for it. And Jay enables companies and people to bring higher value to what they're doing and to be more effective in it. And in that way, it's genuinely improving the world.